Hello there. My name is Achukwu, and I'd like to share a few thoughts with you concerning leadership and personal development. Today, my topic is 4 keys to living an abundant life, 4 keys to experiencing a fuller, richer life every day. We know that it's no longer news that we've been plunged into a very unseasonable time in our lives. We have been figuring out ways to navigate the pandemic and the corollary destruction of businesses and incomes and livelihoods for a lot of people around the world. This pandemic has brought a lot of quakes to our lives, more than we had bargained for. But it's the reality that we've been plunged in today and for a long time to come. In the midst of this chaos, I believe there are 4 important things anybody can learn to help them not only navigate through the helix of the problem that we've been pitchforked into today, but also to learn how to thrive. 4 keys to an abundant life. The first key I have here is to live by your calling. Now, this is something that I'm particularly passionate about because it began for me in my teenage years. I remember when I was 17 or 18, right about that age, I began really to inquire about my purpose. Purpose really sat at the top of my consciousness at this time. And for years and years and years now, I have personally been very passionate about the subject of living by your calling. And here's something I've found. When you decide to pursue your calling, you enter into a depth of yourself that nothing could have prepared you for. You unleash the depths of yourself, the best part of you, like never before, because your calling is your strength zone. Your calling is your place of adornment, it's your place of glorification, if you will. Your calling is your natural habitat where you have the best chances of being the best possible version of yourself that you could possibly be. There are so many people in the world today who are trying to achieve things that are by nature contrary to what they are designed for. There are so many people today struggling in areas that they have no business being in the first place. Jim Collins, a management expert and author of best-selling book Good to Great, once remarked about the importance of understanding what he called your genetic encoding. What is your genetic encoding? It is that algorithm inside of you that prepares you for the path that only you can uniquely take. It is the combination of patterns within you that prod and push and direct you in the direction that only you can possibly take. That is your calling. It is important that you understand your genetic encoding. It is important that you understand what it is that you have a specific, unique design for and pursue it with all of your might. In my book, Touching the Nerves of Leadership, I talked about your inherent design. You have an inherent design that enables you to flourish in an area that nobody else can compete with you. Think about the fishes in the sea. You cannot compete with a fish in swimming because it was built for the aquatic lifestyle. You cannot outroar a lion. That's what it does best. Now, in the same way, there are things that only you can do best if you figure out exactly what it is. When you find that out, you need to latch into it and develop yourself within that purview. The second key to living a rich, abundant life is to give quality attention to the pillars of life. The pillars of life comprise the spiritual dimension of life. It comprises your mental state. It comprises your economic life, your finances. It comprises your relationships, the people who mean the most to you. It comprises your physical body. You have to be alive to enjoy life in the first place. It comprises your vocation. Man was made to work. Men and women were made to work, to love, to connect with something bigger than us. If you understand what is important to you, what are these pillars in your lives that you are willing to invest time to develop? We know successful people who have all but ended their lives. We know successful people who, while they have achieved some worldly accolade, were struggling deeply in the abyss of depression. We know successful people who have failed marriages, who have kids that have walked out on them, who have strained relationships. And at the same time, we know very spiritual people who are suffering economically, financially, very spiritual, but always struggling with money. And we know people who are very intelligent. They have a brain capacity that can power entire cities, if you will, that can power entire states or nations, if you will. But they are sickly and always feeble. And that is not to cast aspersions at anybody, but you have to understand the pillars that comprise a wholesome life: your spiritual life, your economic life, your physical well being, your vocation, your relationships, your mental acuity. These things are important for you to understand in order to live a rich life. How much attention would you give to these important areas of your life on a daily basis? You'd find out that you're most likely to enjoy a higher quality of life, to enjoy relative peace, to enjoy a higher relativity of tranquility if you understand these elements of existence and you devote time to them every day, or at least as often as can be, to develop yourself in them. Give attention, quality attention at that, to the key pillars of life. The third key to living a rich and abundant life is to understand the cluster of your life values. Now, this is something that can either define you or completely destroy you. If you don't understand what parameters you are not permitted to foray beyond, then anything goes for you. You have to understand for yourself, what do I find meaningfully critical or critically meaningful in my life? What are those things that I'm not willing to trade for nothing in the world? What are those things that mean the most to me that I want to hold on to for as long as I live here on earth? It could be family, it could be chastity, it could be adding value to other people, whatever it is. Well, depending on your individual life context, you are the best person to inform yourself about your own values. But it is of dire importance that you comprehend, investigate, and synthesize what your life values are. Understanding them helps you and positions you to live a higher and richer quality of life. Those things you're not willing to discard for anything, those things you're not willing to trade, those things that nourish, uplift, edify, and position you to be a blessing to the world. Understand what those things are and develop yourself on them. Now, the fourth important key is to prioritize continuous personal growth and development. Someone rightly said, the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. Continuous growth helps you to remain at the cusp of relevance. Not just at the cusp of relevance, but it helps you to maintain significance. in your life. There are people today who were once relevant and who have stopped being relevant. You know some people perhaps who at one time were the happening people. They had a lot of respect from society. They had people who looked up to them. They were admired by many. But today you don't hear of them anymore. Not because they're dead, but because they have stopped being relevant. They have stopped being significant. If you want to maintain your relevance, if you want to perpetuate your significance, you have to prioritize continuous personal growth and development. That is the only way that you can ensure you are irresistible, whether in your workplace, whether in your private life, whether in your family, doesn't matter where it is. If you would commit to consistently making yourself better, where? In your area of values and the cluster of your life, those that's actually the second point that we talked about. Here's where you want to continually grow in your spiritual life, in your financial life, in your physical life. You want to keep being healthy. You want to constantly remain relevant in your vocation. You want to develop better relationships with more meaningful people. You want to maintain your mental keenness. And that's where to grow. And also in your values, the purview of your values. Prioritizing personal growth continuously helps you remain ever fresh, ensures that you have value to continually bring to yourself, to your immediate surrounding, and to the world at large. Now, these four keys, living by your calling, knowing what it is that you're designed for, and staying within that purview, giving quality attention to the pillars of life, your spiritual life, your mental life, your economic life, your finances, your relationships, your physical well-being, your vocation, understanding what your cluster of life values are, what means the most to you, that you are willing to trade for anything in the world, and continually growing in these important areas of your life. They help you to live a rich and abundant life every day. My name is Achukwu. I'm a speaker, author, trainer, facilitator, and coach. And I'd like to work with you. I'd like to share thoughts like this to your team, to your organization. I'd like to work with you on a one-on-one basis through my coaching platform. And if you feel like you have an opportunity where I can add value to you, to your team, or to your organization, please do not hesitate to reach out to me at cc@opus.com, cc@choko.com, and opus.com. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.